Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, welcome to Renee Box Young. This is a platform where we simply discuss, critique, and analyze and simply talk about the sport of boxing in a level-headed, mature, coherent fashion. Definitely subscribers since day one and recent subscribers. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much, for tuning into the flash lives, tuning into the premieres of my videos such as this, the playback gang also. I appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much for commenting in the comment sections of the videos and just chatting away with me, definitely, man, collaborating. This is an organic community, definitely. If you love the sport of boxing, this is a place for you, definitely. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I do these types of things, the videos, the flash lives, etc., etc. I appreciate you all, man. Thank you guys so much for being part of this wonderful community, man. I want to talk, immediately about this. Concerning a couple sanctioning bodies, the WBA and the WBC. Now, first and foremost, everybody knows, man, that there's a lot of, things that go on in the sport of boxing, a lot of politics, fighters themselves with the A side, B side stuff, taking advantage, as much as they can and prolonging fights and this and that, fights being postponed, people pulling out of fights. I mean, there's just so many things that really, upset the boxing community, when it comes to fans of the sport of boxing, it's quite disappointing. There's several things to be disappointed about in the sport of boxing, but at the same time, there are a lot of things that, we love about the sport of boxing, that I love personally about the sport of boxing, which is why I watch the sport. I love it. I just love what fighters do in the ring, the trajectory of fighters, the background, the backstories, etc., man, the dedication, the fight for the honor and the glory, etc. And there's a lot of, complaints, on behalf of the boxing community, boxing fans out there. I reiterate, when I talk about boxing community, I talk about people that just love the sport of boxing. A lot of complaints, on behalf of the boxing community with how sanctioning bodies do things. The rankings, how people all of a sudden, just a quick example, Andre BERTO, salute, man, great fighter, you know what I mean? Andre BERTO, if I'm not mistaken, he was elevated to the ranking system, the top 10. I think it was in the WBA, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, there is an opponent for Ugas, which is Fabian Maidana, obviously, but he was bumped up to 10th, if I'm not mistaken, Andre BERTO, and people speculate, that he's probably going to fight. And actually, it was presented to Andre BERTO to fight Ugas, but he turned it down. My point in this is that WBA all of a sudden lifting up Andre BERTO to 10th. He hasn't fought in a long time. I mean, things like that. There are so many things, but I remember in Boxing and Then Now, the series that I had, with honorable guests, honorable guests. Go check the playlist. I got it there on the channel, and one of those was about sanctioning bodies. It just goes back, the history of the sport of boxing is so dense and so deep. And that's one of the reasons why I love the sport of boxing too. It's just so deep and rich in history, and when we talked about sanctioning bodies, and it looks like this is headed towards the right direction to a certain degree, at least. Let's get right to it, man. I'm gonna show you this right here on Twitter, okay? So this is, Michael Benson, the guy who pushes info a lot in the sport of boxing. Link in the description, official profile, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it says here, WBA president Gilberto Mendoza, Gilberto, you pronounce it like that in Spanish, Gilberto Mendoza, has once again, claimed they are planning to reduce their number of belts. That's great news. So Gilberto Mendoza, WBA president, he feels that having more belts gives fighters more opportunities. I get it to a certain degree, but a lot of us know, that one of the main, or one of the things that happen, one of the benefits that sanctioning bodies get is the more belts they have, the more money they receive because they put fees on those belts. If I'm not mistaken, that's why, Floyd Mayweather Jr., in his career, he would drop certain belts so he wouldn't pay so much. So it wouldn't pay the sanctioning, fees. It's expensive when you have so many belts, I can only imagine what Canelo pays. Obviously, he's super rich, he's wealthy, but it's a lot of belts, man. All those belts, you got to pay up, so, I mean, I get it, dropping those belts, I get it. But, that's one of the things that the sanctioning bodies, one of the benefits, the perks of having belts. And that's how I think it's one of the revenue, main sources of revenue is the belts, and this is headed towards the right direction, man. I hope he follows through. What I've said time and time again, and not just with fighters, but with, these sanctioning bodies and presidents and promoters, blah, blah, blah. Actions speak louder than words. Actions. We want to see actions. We want to see changes. We want to see you do it. Okay? Now, check this out. To reiterate what I'm trying to say here concerning the WBA, it's a good direction, man. They got to do this. You got to, just one champ in each sanctioning body. That's it. Make it that simple. And it's a little bit easier to follow when it comes to sport of boxing, because all these interims, gold, silver, blah, 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 it's a bunch of nonsense in my humble opinion. It's nonsense. Boxingscene.com, link in the description, blah, blah. Yeah, you check it out. Okay, so it says here, let's check out the rankings just so you can get an idea, okay? So let's go up to the heavyweights. Okay, so right here. Heavyweight WBA. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is just horrible. Anthony Joshua, Manuel Charr, Trevor Bryan, WBA Gold, Robert Helenius. All this is nonsense. You see what I mean? And this is what the boxing community struggles with and wrestles with, It's just nonsense to follow all this, You go to cruiserweight. Okay, well, it says, okay, Gulamarian, okay, Ryan. You got 3 champs there, ladies and gentlemen. What is that? Okay, Dimitri, this is more understandable. You see what I mean? You see? It makes new followers of the sport of boxing. It makes it confusing to have all these freaking belts, man. It's nonsense. I hope they do this. I hope they change it. It should be like this. You see what I'm saying? And that goes with the WBC too. I mean, it should be, the less belts, the better. Okay, let me just go ahead and zoom out just a tad. So you see there, it should be like that. WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, 1 champ per sanctioning body. It should be as simple as that. It would be amazing for the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Just this little change, So let's get back to it. You scroll down a little bit more. Look at this. Look at this. 3 belts in that one. You see what I'm trying to say? I mean, it's just too many belts, man. Way too, and that's just 1 sanctioning body. You go to the WBC, that's another problem. WBC with the franchise and all these other belts, man. I mean, you just use the normal ranking system, 1 through 10, and it's simple as that. Number 1 is the, mandatory whatever to fight for that title, and that's it. How complicated is that? It's not. And it would be way better. I hope, this guy follows through on it. I really do, man. WBA, I mean, you can say it. I mean, that's great. The intention looks wonderful, but, actions speak louder than words, and I hope we see that change. I definitely do. Now, let's go into another, it's kind of like a news thing. I was thinking about going live, but, I might as well just make a video about it. So check this out, man. I want to show you guys something. This is WBC. This is the WBC website. Link in the description also. You check it out. Okay, so it says here, I don't want to zoom out too much because it makes it small. They want to change the point system for judging scoring. It's weird. Look, check it out. It says here, clear definition of levels. Here it goes. This is where it's explained, okay? Like more concisely, more, a summary. Closed, 10-9. When a boxer has won the round by a narrow margin over his opponent, when comparing the punches landed, a couple of effective punches could turn the fight in either direction. So that's C, 10-9C. 10-9M means moderate. When a boxer has won the round by a clear margin over his opponent, when comparing scored punches, the winner was ahead by more than a couple of effective punches, landed and could not have changed without significant impact. You opinionate, please, in the comment section if you're tuning into real time. Put there in the chat, man. Wow. Now, Mauricio Sulaiman, man, I mean, has been subject to a lot of, criticism concerning what I said a moment ago, the franchise belt, and that franchise belt has brought a lot of dispute concerning Teofimo's undisputed label, okay? Because the franchise belt and a myriad of other things, okay? I don't need to get into that. But, Mauricio Sulaiman has come on interviews, several interviews. Hey, shouts out to Mauricio for taking those interviews. Manning up and facing, the critics. That's great. Shouts out to him for that. And he talked about how he understands it's very confusing, the franchise stuff. Now this point system they're bringing in, and we're not even mentioning the bridgerweight division that he added also. I mean, he's doing a lot of several new things, and obviously that's why they put it there in the article that this is going to be, there's going to be a lot of resistance. There's going to be a lot of resistance concerning this change. What do you think about this, man? I just, link in the description of that article. You check it out. It's the WBC page, right? What do you think about this? It sounds quite complex. I understand, WBC and their intention. I guess they're trying to make it more fair, as far as how judging is. You already know, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of robberies in the sport of boxing, a lot of unfairness in the sport of boxing when it comes to judging, definitely. And there has been a lot of complaints, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the years concerning, certain decisions and rulings, scorecards and things of that nature, when it comes to certain big fights too. And when it comes to big fights, there's a lot of controversial decision making, when it comes to judges and scoring. And I don't know, man. I just can't think right now if this is a good thing or a bad thing concerning the WBC modification. They want to make it global. So they want to make this scoring system global. I mean, I think it's going to take a long time to do that. But we'll see, man. I mean, and this is going to be subject to a lot of criticism, or maybe good things. I don't know. Good responses from the community. I don't know, man. It just depends. So it looks like they want to start establishing this, for the WBC, those who fight in the WBC rankings, for those rankings or what have you, and championship. I mean, we'll see, man. I don't know how they're going to do this, but it sounds quite complex. So what do you think about that, man? Look at these changes. And I like how, going back to the WBA news, I like how, the president of WBA said that, a lot of people aren't riding with it. He knows what people are saying and the boxing community is saying concerning all these belts. And that's what they got to do, ladies and gentlemen. This is a good sign, but we'll see if they actually follow through on it. This is a good sign, concerning the WBA and all those belts. WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, I just don't know, man. And I'm strictly talking about, the WBC and the sanctioning body concerning the sport of boxing. I'm not talking about Mauricio Suleiman as a person. We gotta rightly divide these things, guys, ladies and gentlemen, because in certain, out there in the boxing community, people take it too far and get too personal. You gotta learn how to be professional concerning things. When it comes to critiquing, when it comes to talking, analyzing, when it comes to the sport of boxing, be professional about it, you know what I mean? And a lot of people get a little bit over emotional and say, Mauricio Suleiman is this and that, and try to attack his person. I don't attack his person at all. I'm just saying that when it comes to decisions made for the sport of boxing, in that arena, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And it seems like, with all these changes and weird decisions that WBC is making for the sport of boxing, it seems like it's making it worse. WBA, I like how they're, talking at least, but it's a good sign, but we'll see if they actually follow through on it. WBA is listening to the people, listening to the fans. That's what these sanctioning bodies got to do, ladies and gentlemen. I know there are, people also that defend certain sanctioning bodies more than others, but I think that they all have their dirt, just like all these corporations and companies, everywhere in the world has its dirt to a certain degree when it comes to huge enterprises. I mean, that's facts. Why? Because human beings are in it, you know what that implies. And where there's multi-million, billion-dollar, industries, I mean, there's going to be some shady stuff going on sometimes. It's just the reality of life, man, and the reality of the world. So, but I like how the WBA is trying to, they have to. I hope we see soon, ladies and gentlemen, that WBA, you can call them up too. I left the number of the WBA when I made a video on it, and you can call them up. And I made the video. I called WBA headquarters. Shouts out to my guy L-Dub, sent me the information. I called them up to request the Jermell Charlo and Castano immediate rematch. And you can call, there's a number, you can call them up. You can also maybe request this, like, hey, please eliminate all these belts. Just one championship belt is necessary, because all this other stuff, giving belts and just handing belts out to fighters, I get it. According to the WBA, they're trying to make opportunities, but I just think it's nonsense, man. It's just too much confusion, and it's just nonsense. And it makes it more complicated for the, new fans of the sport of boxing to follow the sport of boxing. Because they're like, who the heck's the real champ here? It's just nonsense, man. So it looks like WBA is headed towards the right direction, but we'll see. WBC with this new judging scoring system, please let me know what you think about it. I mean, I just don't know right now what to think about it so far. I mean, it's fresh news, and we'll see how it develops and evolves, and if they actually start implementing this in fights, and let's see how it works out. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll work to be more precise in judging. I don't know, but we'll see, right? But there's a lot of corruption when it comes to these things and when it comes to judging, and it has to be fixed. It has to be fixed, and there's a lot of community that's been talking about that. The sport of boxing got to get cleaned up. It's got to get cleaned up, and I hope it does, because it would be the betterment for, boxing fans and the betterment for professional fighters out there too. You know what I mean? So Renee Boxing, thanks so much for, subscribing and all your support. I appreciate y'all. Comment in the comment section, please. What do you think about all this? So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it, develops concerning these things. WBC, the judging system, and the WBA, if they're really going to reduce the amount of belts. They got to do it for all sanctioned bodies. So thank you guys so much. Comment in the comment sections, man. Hit the notification bell so you know when I do my flash lives. New listeners, go ahead and subscribe. If you love the sport of boxing, this is a place for you. It's as simple as that. Renee Boxing is a platform we simply discuss, critique, analyze, simply talk about sport of boxing in a level-headed, mature fashion. That's all we do here. So thank you guys so much. Peace. Stay safe.